Google. Let's go get them again.
Welcome back to another episode of Sampling Samples. Today we are sampling from the brand of Yves Saint Laurent, and this is another addition to their Y lineup, which is Y Le Parfum 2025 edition. So a re-released, rejigged. A lot of brands are doing this with some of their top selling fragrances. They are axing the old one. Maybe it's because they want to do refillable tops, things like that. And they're rejigging the scent or rebottling the scent. So Y Le Parfum was a recent enough release flanker of the line. I have my collection right here. Most of the videos that you see on my channel of the Y lineup are sampling samples because it's not my speed. So I have the EDP version, the original bottle right here of YSL Y. I love the bottle presentations, the juice themselves. So this one right here, 2025 relaunch, the newest release of the Y line. This is sticker shock here, $185 retail. That's how much these fragrances are. Oof, that price. Not a fan of the Y line, so that price is going to reflect the review that you're getting here. This is the basic bottom of the barrel kind of fragrance line. Yes, very popular, but personally in the designer game, if you're asking me basic, there is going to be a few fragrance lines that I feel are very basic, and this is that. I did review sampling samples, of course, of Y Le Parfum back in the day, back in 2024, so fairly recent review actually. So let's see if this one's any better. It is definitely different from what I recollect the old one to be. So you're always going to have that influencer that has like 10 bottles of Y Le Parfum, the original, and go, oh, what did they do? Now, if you're new here, welcome to the Robezoe channel. I'm your host, Mark. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, much appreciated. I do review, of course, these new releases as well, mostly in sample form, especially designer. Designer game right now in the men's line for 2025. We're having a hard time. We are. Maybe I'm getting old. Everything smells alike. Everything smells kind of basic. Only a handful are actually quite good in the designer game, but you're going to see me reviewing things like this, unisex fragrances, female oil, indie niche, all that. So if you're new here, you're going to get a wide array of things I unbox. I do not a lot of top 10 lists, honestly, on this channel, if any. I hate that I started that trend in the fragrance game on YouTube, unfortunately. Still wallowing and crying in the corner in regards to that. So, and to the ones that return to my channel and watching this review, welcome back. Let's delve into a new YSL Y and see what it's all about. Now let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one. Release date is this year, 2025. So a new release from YSL. On a footnote, what have they been doing with the L'Homme line and La Nuit de l'Homme? They stopped doing flankers of that line, I guess. Nose behind this, Dominique Rapillon, Monsieur Rapillon. Rapillon's resume speaks for itself. This is more of a paycheck for him than an art piece. I can confidently say that now that I've smelt this for a few days on my skin. Let's take a look at the note breakdown and let's see what we got here. Up top we have ginger and bergamot. The ginger in here, I'm gonna spotlight it. It's great. The ginger that he utilizes for YSL, forget the Y line, but also L'Homme, is gorgeous. He's again a master with spice, herbs, things like that. His gingers for YSL, as basic as ginger can be in designers, he's a step above for that note. And I like it a lot in this one. In the mid, we got balsam fir, pine needles, and geranium. So the fragrance game has gone from blue to green. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but yeah, the fragrance lines are starting to go more into this conifers. The original polo green, that one. You know, Polo should start releasing more Polo greens because that's where it's going now. And in the back end, we have amber and patchouli, so more greens. So the big notes to me are pine, so that's a good thing. You're getting some greens. Ginger, which I said previously, and geranium. So geranium's a big piece in here as well. So let's drain this little sample. I am wearing it as my scent of the day today, but we are going to just dab here. Just remind me of the introduction. I'm launching this thing, Kobe. And Why Le Parfum 2025 edition starts us off with the opening notes of ginger and bergamot. Bright, invigorating. The citrus itself is synthetic. It doesn't bring much to the table as far as the bergamot goes, except for brightness. That's what it does. It's as generic can be as far as bergamot goes. Almost every designer in the game starts with a bergamot. This is just your typical one. Nothing crazy here. It's a generic bergamot note. What saves it is the ginger. Let's get into that. So our saving grace, the ginger, comes in. And the ginger, however, the ginger, which was good in the original Le Parfum, returns here. I really think Rapion has a good ginger note that he utilizes not only in the Y line for YSL, but also its L'Homme line for the brand. So it starts off bright. It starts off with some zing because of the ginger, and will have some icy quality to it. So it has a little bit of playfulness in here. The thing I saw that it was missing here is the sweetness, which with amber in the base notes, I thought, I'd probably get some of that sweetness. No, you're not getting much of that. So it's kind of lacking, and if I remember correctly, I think there was an apple note in the other one, a fruity note. So it's kind of lacking that sweetness, that playfulness. So these two notes are met with an Ambrox shower gel blue theme here that the Y line is known for. So it holds on to itself with bergamot and ginger, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like, it gives you just enough of a platform that you can sense that the ginger is very good and the bergamot is so-so. And then the blue comes in and you're like, oh, okay, here we go. Buckle up, Mark. I don't like blues. I'm notoriously known for that. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Shower gel time. And the blue facet sticks around the whole theme of the fragrance, which I would come to expect from a Y release. But it eventually turns from primary to secondary in the background of this thing in the dry down of the scent, and it starts going into this green nuance. So I just spoke about Coach, what was it, a 2025 release, Coach for Men EDP version, which it went from bluey to greeny. Same thing here. It goes from bluey to greeny. It's really interesting how these brands are just morphing their blue fragrances into what's popular to this day. So they're slowly getting their audience into the green theme, where I'm assuming the blue theme is going to go away. It's not going to be popular anymore, and it's going to be green. So it's kind of like a mishmash. So I'm seeing a lot of this lately in the 2025 releases, just to kind of just let you know that it's starting to go into these green nuances. Now, those green nuances, which is a pine, they're very dominant in this mid, and they start showing themselves a bit more here in the intro, but will eventually take over the scent at the end of the fragrance. So at this point, I felt this Y release is a little more mature from most of the line, which conifers would do. They do that. They make you think of maybe older fragrances, and that's maybe wired in here that your dad wore Polo Green, right? It was so popular. And among others, right? There's other like Drakkar, like fragrances coming back to Drakkar. So it's kind of like the green themes are coming back. So think of, honestly, at this point, a pine or green shower gel. So that's where it brought me to. It wasn't like very natural green, like when you're looking at conifers and you can smell the pine needles, and there's some scents that will do that and give you kind of like a 3D effect. This went into a generic shower gel, but it has a sticker in the front that says pine. but it also still has kind of like that blue shower gel kind of feel. It's still a blue fragrance at heart, but it kind of grew up a bit here. Almost like the generation of blue noses grew up on blue scents and now are a little more mature, so the brands kind of have to go with the theme. Okay, you're getting a little older, kids. We got to start making it a little more mature. So here we are. You still got that blueness, but we're kind of getting away from the candy, getting away from the sweetness, and we're kind of moving towards this greenness. Kind of interesting how the generations the fragrance generations are moving. So the opening of Why Le Parfum is woody, it's fresh, it's synthetic, it's citrusy, and slightly spicy from the ginger and geranium. It lacks the sweetness that you expect with the blue hue. So that is one thing that is highly notable in this fragrance review. So now the conifer notes that are noted in the mid here, the pine needles and the balsam fir, turn on to be the more primary here. The only issue I have is this portion isn't authentic. It smells like a $20 bargain bin green scent that you found in the 90s, like one of those that tried to be polo green or insert popular green conifer based fragrance here, and it was like a knockoff of it. This smells like that. It doesn't smell like almost a $200. In Canada, this is going to be a $200 fragrance. It's 180s in the US plus tax plus, oh jeez, you're going in the 200s here. I always use the example of grape drink that has 100% pure fruit juice and the Kool-Aid purple drink. There's a difference, there's a big difference. And this is where this is the, and you want to go green, this is the green drink. Like it doesn't have any real fruit juice. The pine needles are quite faceless. Think about the Tonka in the original Le Parfum where it had no personality, right? Tonka has cherry nuances, it has almond nuances, it's powdery, it has vanillic, right? There's a tonka bean and then there's everything that it gives to a fragrance. And I'm judging fragrances on that, like what is the quality of this note? Pine needle, not that it has many real facets to it, but it's faceless. And this is what you get here. It's green, absolutely. Is it woody? Yeah. Is it pine? Not sort of. Yeah, it's kind of a wood, but it's really quite synthetic. So the geranium as well in this fragrance isn't that great, but it will give its herbal green nuances, not minty, but green, right? That's the difference, right? And also it will give out some black pepper nuances. So you are going to get a little bit of that. The patchouli plays a part here, but again, very much faceless. The amber as well really didn't play a part here. I didn't feel that at all, actually, in testing. Towards the end, it's a dry, woody, pine green thing that could have been made by a cheaper brand like Banana Republic. Even hell, even Coach that I just reviewed could have made this. It's just not up to snuff of a fragrance that is an upwards of $150 per bottle. That's a high-end line. And I don't smell anything high-end here at all. So overall, and I smushed this, but man, is it terrible. Overall, Why Le Parfum is unoriginal. Smells like something done in 2015, honestly. It still remains blue up top, but goes more green with time. I felt the ginger was the star of the show. As long as that ginger note lasted, I was happy, but the bulk of the fragrance with the green aspects and the blue aspects, they just aren't good enough. Now let's get into Seasons Day Night versatility and performance. Seasons, tweener. Just like the Coach that I just reviewed, it really is one of those fragrances that is not thin enough for summer, and it's not thick enough for winter. I feel like tweener seasons where the weather fluctuates to cold to hot, fall and spring, those are your tweener months, is best for this kind of fragrance. Day or night, I guess more nighttime. It wouldn't be my personal choice, but I think it's more geared towards night. It just has, a little more personality than, I think like the original Y Eau de Toilette would be your daytime, and this one would be more of a nighttime scent. But again, not my first choice. Versatility, average. It really is an average scent with average scoring. Versatility is, yeah, not too many restrictions here. Performance, longevity was okay. I'm looking for 7 to 9. It gave me 6 to 8. Good enough. Again, maybe the clientele that's looking at this fragrance want more. For me, 6 to 8 is perfectly fine for a designer fragrance. I have no issues with that. Again, performance, I don't value performance as much as the next guy. I just don't. And projection was fairly average. Again, a lot of average scores here with this fragrance. So my final thoughts on why Le Parfum 2025. Not only is this thing redundant to own, but the pricing for what I got here in this sampling is atrocious. Oof. 185 USD, garbage. The quality here is one of a bargain bin scent. This whole midnight green thing that they gave out on marketing, kind of scent profile, may be good with good materials. They got a good nose. I don't know, but this one just really bombed on my skin. It just really didn't work. After 3 days, I was just like, who's buying this? You'd think since I'm more of an older gentleman that I'd actually appreciate this approach, that I'm seeing blueys still sticking around, but they're moving them more into a green aspect, which is more mature and it's more, you know, gray beard kind of guy kind of thing. But I think it's a waste of Rapion's talent. And as far as green scents go, or like pine or pine needles or that kind of scent profile, there's much better out there. I don't need a blue introduction to ease me into it. And the green aspect is not even close to good. So I think it's a waste of his talent. A huge pass for me, honestly, especially at that price point. Oof, that price point. Ouch. If I had to give it a score, 2025, a year of the 2s out of 10s in the designer game. This one has a little more, you know, the coach that I reviewed, not to give you any spoilers, but I'm going to give you a spoiler. I got a 2. This is going to get a 3. I'm a little better built than that one, but not much. And I think the original Y Le Parfum in 2024 got the same exact score on my channel, if I remember correctly. So to me personally, there's no improvement here. It's either you like certain things and you might like the other one, you might like this. I think they're both poor. they're both no good. So that's my thought process on this new 2025 release. And I do have other Ys that I actually bought. I blind bought the, is it the Eau Fraiche version? It's discontinued, but I bought it. It's in the purgatory somewhere. I couldn't find it, so this is the only bottle that's showed up. Now that's heard my take. I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly. And again, I'm not attacking you personally. Don't attack me personally. And again, with lower score reviews of really popular brands, you're going to see a lot of that. I don't mind that you say, hey, I think this is a 10. Sure. You can also say, hey, no, I think it's kind of mid and I think it's like a 5 or a 6. Sure. And you can agree with me. We can high five in the comments. I don't care. I'm not going to delete your comment because yes, that happens. If you didn't know, you know now. Influencers delete a lot of them delete your comment if you don't agree with them. I don't care. I don't know you. I don't own any stock in YSL. I'm doing this for funsies. However, I lost money because I bought that little sample. But anyways, yeah, that's my thought process. Looking forward to the next Y. They have beautiful bottles. I'm looking maybe to see one that I could relate to, maybe at some point. And what are they doing with L'Homme et la Nuit? I guess they're just kind of ditching that line now. We'll see. But yeah, 3 out of 10. And as always, a great report fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.